In this video, I want to show you guys how to multiply matrices, and the first thing you want to do is you want to calculate the size of each one of these matrix. Okay, so the way you do that is the size of any given matrix is rows by columns. So we're going to write that down here, rows by columns, and the number of rows in this one is 1, 2, 3. So rows go from left to right, so this is going to be a 3 by, and columns are up and down, so 1, 2. This is a 3 by 2 matrix, and then if we did the same thing here, there's 1 row, 2 row, so this is a 2 by 1, 2, 3. This is a 2 by 3 matrix. In order to be able to multiply matrices, the number of columns in your first matrix has to be equal to the number of rows in your second matrix. And if that sounds confusing, if you write out the size of each matrix, the two inside numbers have to be the same. Okay? So if these two numbers are the same, you can multiply them. If they're not, you can't multiply them. The two outside numbers will be the final size of your multiplied matrix. So if you multiply these two matrices out, the final resulting matrix will be a 3 by 3 matrix. We're not going to do this problem. We're going to start out with a 2 by 2 matrix first. So for our first problem, we're going to go about it by calculating the size of each matrix. And if we check, this has 2 rows and 2 columns. So this is a 2 by 2 matrix, and this is the same size, so this is also a 2 by 2 matrix. In order to see if we can multiply these out, we check the two inside numbers, and they are the same, so we can multiply them out, and the final matrix will have a size of 2 by 2 as well. And the way we go about doing this is we multiply each individual row by every single column. Okay, so we're going to take 2, this row, and multiply it by this column. So 2 times 4 plus, then we go on to the second element of the first row, 1 times the second element of the first column times 5. And that's going to be the first element in our final matrix. And then we stay on the same row, but we multiply it by the second column. So 2 times 9 plus 1 times 7. And then we're done with our first row. We have multiplied this first row by every single column in our second matrix. Then we move to the second one. So we go to the second row, first element, multiplied by the first column, first element. So 6 times 4 plus 3 times 5, and that'll be the second element in our first row for our final matrix. And then we are going to multiply 6 by 9, so 6 times 9 plus 3 times 7. And if we simplify this all down, so 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 5, so this is going to be 13. 2 times 9 is 18, plus 7 is going to be 25. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 15 is 39. And 6 times 9 is 54, plus 21 is 75. And this is going to be our final matrix of size 2 by 2. So for our next problem, we're going to start by calculating the size of these matrices. So this one has 3 rows and 2 columns, so this is a 3 by 2 matrix. And then this one has 2 rows and 3 columns, so this is a 2 by 3 matrix. If we check to see if we can multiply by checking the two inside numbers, they are the same, so we can, and the final resulting matrix will be of size 3 by 3 if we check the outside numbers. So we're gonna the way we do this, just like the other ones, is we multiply each individual row by every single column. So we're going to start by multiplying the row 1 by 2 by each one of these columns. So we're going to start with 2 by 5. So 1 times 2 is 2, plus 2 times 5 is 10. So this is going to be the first element in our matrix. Then we are going to go back to our first row and multiply it by our second column. So 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 times 6 is 12. And then we go back to our first row by our third column. 1 times 4 is 4, times 2 times 7 is 14. And we have successfully completed our first row. So on to the second row, 3 by 4. So we're going to multiply 3 by 4 by the column 2, 5. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 4 times 5 is 20. For our next one, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 4 times 6 is 24. Back to our second row, third column, 3 times 4 is 12, plus 4 times 7 is 28. Okay, we are actually done with our second row. On to our third row, first column. So 5 times 2 is 10, plus 6 times 5 is 30. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 6 times 6 is 36. Okay, last row, last column, 5 times 4 is 20, plus 6 times 7 is 42. And all we have to do is now simplify this. So this is equal to 2 plus 10 is 12. Then 3 plus 12 is 15. And then 4 plus 14 is 18. 6 plus 20 is 26. 9 plus 24 is 33. 12 plus 28 is 40. So this one will be 40, 51, 62. And this is our final resulting matrix of size 3 by 3.